Hi there everyone and welcome along. Now today we're looking at the ABC Haymarket, Newcastle upon Tyne. So without further ado, let's get started. The cinema was a project of Dixon Scott, great uncle of Ridley and Tony Scott, and it opened on the 21st of December 1933 with a modest capacity of 1,280, and it was simply called the Haymarket. The opening film was Tom Wall's in Just Smith. The equipment was Ross projectors with Western Electric wide range sound. Now its architectural style was Egyptian, with interior decorations by M. Alexander and Son, which were inspired by a cinema in Cairo. The three foyers featured friezes of camels, palm trees and pyramids, etc. There was a box located on each side of the proscenium at circle level. The dressing rooms were located under the stage, which were approximately 16 to 18 feet deep. There was a very large restaurant on the first floor, the windows of which can be seen on all photos of the front of house. Access was via large glass doors from the dress circle foyer. It was the best cinema restaurant in Newcastle in terms of size and position, with a panoramic vista of the busy Haymarket and the top of Northumberland Street. There were lifts for the use of patrons to access the first floor, the dress circle and restaurant, and the second floor, the rear circle. Associated British Cinemas ABC acquired the property in September 1935, and it closed down to undertake structural alterations and extend its size considerably by lengthening the building. The alterations included the rear circle, which consisted of a further 10 rows. The enlarged capacity was 2013, and the new booking policy was to play first run MGM, Warner Brothers and naturally Associated British Pictures when it reopened on the 31st of August 1936 with the Marx Brothers in MGM's A Night at the Opera. And thanks to my friends at the CTA, here is that opening programme. Now the cinema suffered damage from a fire on Thursday, April 30th, 1942. It was discovered by one of the wartime fire watchers who was on the premises, a Mr. George Walker. When the fire brigade arrived, the many stage drapes were well alight and spread quickly to the roof, which duly collapsed into the pit and the circle. Showers of red-hot fragments fell around the firemen as they battled the flames, and after about an hour it was under control. A dozen firefighting units and 60 firemen fought the blaze. Luckily, the projection room, restaurant, foyer and corridors were all unaffected. The cinema was closed for just over 7 months, and it reopened on the 7th of December 1942. Although the ABC Haymarket was always a very busy cinema, it was to become disadvantaged by being compulsorily purchased by Newcastle University in the early 1950s and leased back on relatively short leasehold periods to ABC. Newcastle University was never in a hurry to utilise the site to extend their premises, but, by the same token, were not prepared to relinquish ownership of the building either. During the 1950s, Philips FP20s were installed with peerless Magnarchs. On the 7th of March 1971, the European premiere of Get Carter, starring Michael Caine, was held at the ABC Haymarket. Filmed on location in Newcastle upon Tyne, it played for 5 weeks at the cinema, attracting 70,000 patrons. Now here is an etching of the front of house depicting the long run of Get Carter. Now the eagle-eyed among you will notice that it's not totally authentic, as the ABC lozenges did not appear until 1972, the triangular ABC Haymarket sign having remained until that year. The afternoon public preview saw the appearance of several supporting actors, including Rosemary Dunham, who played the loose landlady. The civic affair in the evening, so we are informed, was attended by Ian Hendry, director Mike Hodges, and many of the supporting cast, followed by a gala reception at the Royal Station Hotel, which was then one of the most prestigious hotels in the city. Many other regional premieres took place at the ABC, often with stars, personalities and cabaret presentations on the stage. Even in the theatre's twilight years, personal appearances were regular events, with Joan Collins, Lindsay Anderson, Malcolm McDowell and Tippi Hedren as latter-day examples. This was one of the busiest cinemas in the whole of the UK. Even a cheap adaptation of Steptoe and Son achieved the highest take in the country after Liverpool Forum without setting any records. This was later attained with a long run of The Godfather, which played for about 10 weeks later that year, when the first week's gross was £20,000. Remember, this was 51 years ago, as at 2023. Due to its short leasehold, ABC were never prepared, at least from the late 50s, to inject large capital sums into the building by widening the relatively narrow proscenio, which was only 40 feet wide, during the widescreen era of the 50s and 60s, or by subdivision during the conversion era of the 70s and 80s. For this reason, and to retain a foothold in Newcastle, ABC, now part of EMI, acquired the twinned Asoldo Cinema on Westgate Road in 1974. ABC programmed this very nice and up-to-date twin in conjunction with the ABC Haymarket Cinema. Ironically, the university climbed down a little following the Westgate Road acquisition by ABC and offered a longer-term lease, which enabled ABC to redecorate, reseat and recarpet, in addition to installing a new screen and house tabs at the Haymarket. Now, the Haymarket carried on for years on this basis, although it always took a fortune at the box office and ranked as one of the biggest money makers in the UK, and film distributors vied to play their latest releases there. As time passed, it was now only feasible to have one site in the city, following a further decline in cinema attendances. And whilst the Haymarket was, in most respects, much better situated than the Westgate Road venue, its leasehold status left ABC with little choice other than to retain the Westgate Road venue. The Haymarket closed with Purple Rain, on the 20th of September 1984. A rather sad end for what had once ranked as one of the busiest cinemas in Great Britain. It gets worse because it was demolished in March 1985 with only the lower portion of the facade remaining, and this was removed in 1987. The site became a car park for the university. What a tragic end, and one that should have been prevented. Well, that's it for now. We hope you liked this one, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Till then, ta-da.